Hello and welcome to my live today. I'm so happy to be here, guys. I missed coming on live yesterday, but I did send out a post, so I'm glad that I managed to do that. I'm Nashley, for those who don't know me, and welcome. And I would love to say what a beautiful day it's been. Quite a hot day, but I'm here. So today let's talk about something that I thought is been a great topic. It's something I've been listening to over the last few days. And this has to do with our habits. Now I don't know about you or anyone out there. Sometimes when you look at some people's success, we usually think sometimes a chance comes as an overnight thing. Sometimes we think it's as a result of, oh, I'm just noticing that my battery is actually very low. We do need to plug it in. I don't know how I forgot that. But sometimes we actually just think that we see people's success and just assume immediately that look, they must have had it real easy or they had someone that possibly got them to that point. But in actual sense, it's all the little small steps and little actions that they take, the daily habits that they were forming. For anyone and everyone out there, people go through different things at different times, but whichever path they choose, whatever they spend their most time doing, is who they end up resulting to be, is whoever they actually end up building. It could take a few months, it could take a few years. But then when we finally see the end result, we often think, okay, surely they must have had it at an advantage or something. But no, it all has to do with the daily actions that they take, all the daily little things that they would have done leading up to that moment. So they do deserve it. So sometimes people don't see the sleepless nights, sometimes people don't see the work behind all the things you've been doing to work on yourself, to improve, to do better. I personally remember, I'll share a story that I'm like, when I was growing up, my parents always used to say, they want you to stick around friends and, have people of influence, like, who do the similar things that they want you to have. Sometimes they simply want you to form friendships that actually have people who want to study, people want to read, because they actually truly understood that, okay, if our children and our kids, or at any given point, they are spending time with people who like to read or people who perform really good, it would make them proud. It would make them feel like they're actually leading you into a much more clearer path of a, okay, she's gonna study. Chances are when they're together, because this other child, the parents want them to be just as good at school. So it means that my child will probably be the same. So these are all things that people make a cautious decision of. Making decisions that rely on your future's choice to be better. Making the choice to do something today that you might not wake up feeling like it. Something that you might not have the energy to do. Or you completely feel just flat. You're like, look, I've had a busy day, but you still show up. So I find those little moments to be what counts, because sometimes you're too busy or just too exhausted. But when you actively show up for moments which need you to do, because you are trying to embody the same person that you are aiming for. You're trying to be this person that you like. Look, I want to be as an associate of people who are like-minded. You actively put in effort, you put in your work, you put in your thoughts into it, and you show up. So it doesn't matter how you're feeling, because sometimes motivation is not enough. Motivation just means that it gets you a bit of a drive to say, look, I want to do this. But there are days that it won't actually do anything for you other than that you're motivated. You still need to take an action. You still need to take the step further, because sometimes, do you ever find yourself sitting on a couch and you keep contemplating how many times you've been telling yourself, okay, I gotta get up from this couch so that I can do that pile of laundry, or get out and go to do something that you've been counting yourself to do all day. And the moment you keep sitting on there is the hardest moment of your life, because you're like, how am I going to ever get out of this couch to do something? So because of those things, you realize, like, look, if I'm not going to just say, look, I'm getting up, and you put your foot down, you're like, okay, I'm getting up. You just get up. And that's when things start happening. It becomes less easier. It becomes a lot less harder. The fact that you just get up and it gets you moving. I find myself, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, if I have my first shower, I usually count that as a tick. I make my bed, it gets me going. It gets me feeling like, okay, look, I'm on the motion of I've got things moving. But the moment I've got a day where I'm feeling lazy, and I don't actually get out of bed, half the time I'll end up having my shower a lot later than the usual time I would have it. So these are all things we constantly are making choices of. But the habits we're talking about is moments when you actually actively are making choices without you thinking. It doesn't take too much brain power for you to say, look, I wake up, I have a shower, I wake up and I make my bed. Do it without you thinking. Do it without you putting too much of your effort into actually making the action happen. So these are things that I'm personally working on and continuously being mindful of. In that way, I think it's helping me get better. It's helping me see the results that I need because the idea is to keep going. Now, second thing is I'm setting myself up for a long-term goal. I'm basically saying, look, naturally, what I'm building now is gonna be bigger than anything else. I've got my company set up, but what am I doing in between the times of the things that I actually am doing now? If this is where I'm going, I'm not looking at okay, I'm expecting a result to be an overnight, or am I expecting all to happen like in the click of a finger? I've told myself naturally building on something big. So the foundation needs to be really good. I need to do some learning. I need to actively look out for information that I need to feed myself so that I can be the version that I'm building. I can be the person that I'm actually working towards being. It might not all seem like it's a perfect picture, but all the pieces small coming together is going to be a full puzzle soon. So all these things I'm consciously doing and actively looking for solutions, things that I'm not sure about, I ask. Third thing that I'm doing is always finding that I find a lot of support and a lot of support from people around me, gathering the people that I know are of value to keep feeding into the idea that I've built in my head in the world that I've got around me, that I'm continuously aiming for better version of me, aiming for the results that I want to get in the end. I've got a whole accountability group that we always keep in check of each other. We're building each other's hope. We're building each other's dreams because sometimes life throws you so far out of your way that you don't know how to come back. But when someone checks in to say, Ashley, how are you going? Or are you struggling with this? We help each other. And that's exactly what's in this community of mine. The business has people that are actively looking out for me. On days I feel like I've not done something, they'll probably be like, Ashley, what's up? What's going on? And that's enough. It just gets me going. It gets me thinking, okay, I actually haven't done this, or I haven't actually done my post or something, and it just helps. It gives me a bit of momentum rather than me relying on telling myself because I am human at the end of the day. So whatever I do and I put into, it means I'm gonna get those results later. I think I've also read somewhere, or was it in the same podcast, where they were talking about how your reflection of your bank account is exactly what you've been working on for the last either year. Your habits of your daily spends, they reflect how much is sitting there. If you're not great at your savings, or how you just use your money, then sometimes it just shows like there won't be maybe much in there, or you're probably quite in a bad space in terms of financially, and you have quite a lot of credit cards and stuff. So all those things, they are all habits we form each day. Each of us, from when we're young, we start off by, you learn how to crawl, you learn how to walk, you learn how to, start running. And all of it is new stuff, new experiences. But sometimes when you get to be in a moment of you just do it without thinking, you think you've always known how to do things. You think some systems, when you follow them, you think you've always known how to do it. But in actual sense, when you look at it on another angle, you're like, look, I didn't know how to do this before. When I started my business, I didn't know how to be in front of a camera. I wouldn't have spoken to anybody because I was just not there. But because of learning and a lot of training given to us, I've learned to feel comfortable with myself. I've learned to accept that, look, if I'm learning, it might mean I'll make a mistake in what I say. I might make an error in whatever else I'm planning, but it means I'm learning. And that's the best part. I'm not aiming to be someone else. I'm just going to be me. And that gives me a lot more comfort, and knowing that I'm actually actively working on myself to improve, to be on this journey for the better. And me having the people who are surrounding me who are also cheering me gives me a lot more as well. I guess confidence that I didn't know that I had. It's things that we're all aiming, but because when you don't show up and you're constantly waiting for a perfect moment, it sometimes feels like it's a lot more steeper than it actually is. But when in that, when in a moment when you think of, look, I have a voice, I can still speak. I don't have to be all perfect or act like I'm perfect, because we're all filled with some imperfections. Somebody who you like or adore, who probably presents well on TV, is probably someone who studied as where I am. But then when I see them on the other side, I just assume, oh my, they've always known how to speak well in public speak. No, you're not born with it. You learn it. You build the habits to say, look, let me speak to people, even if it means I'm doing it 1 minute, 1 minute a day. Then it's still technically counting for something. But then count that over a period of time of me repeatedly doing these little small habits and making them actionable. It means that it will bring about a different version. Come a year from now, people will look back and say, oh, she's good. But no, we all start somewhere. But if we keep doing the same habits, it will surely get us to where we want to head to. It will build the person we want to aim for. It will build the habits we want them to stick, because if we keep showing up, then habits are not forgotten. You just end up reinforcing them to become the version of the person you want to be. So that's my word today. I just thought we'll share. I'm getting a lot of information just through reading, through I'm not much of a reader. I do enjoy a good podcast, and I love the Mel Robbins podcast. I love books, even just audiobooks. I find a lot of information. Some of it I already would have known, but I just didn't know it applies to myself. So how funny how everything in life is connected. Things that lessons we learn from others, lessons we learn from just conversing with other people, similar minded in the business. They continuously are showing up for you, and I show up for them. So it's a win-win, and we are all in this together. So it's a business that I just appreciate for a lot more things than just one thing. It's not just about the income. It's not about just now. It's about where we're going. What is the end goal? We don't have just one goal to say, look, I want this to happen today and I'm happy, because goals at the end of the day are just your once off. But we are trying to build something that is real and long lasting and goes on for years and years and past my time, that it will also go on and teach, great grandkids, our friends, our families, so that we continuously are aiming to be better versions of ourselves, or just the best of whatever you want to aim at, be it business, be it studies, whatever it is. Anyone can do whatever they put their mind and heart to, as long as you build these habits and be strategic about how you're placing your habits. Make them also support you in your journey, because it doesn't happen overnight. But like I said, when you do 1 minute at a time of something, even if you know that I could have gone 10 minutes, it means you're keeping it up. You gotta keep going. And that is the idea, guys. So I will leave you with that tonight. I'm gonna head off to bed soon. And whoever's watching later, thank you. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye.